Hey guys, this week for week 8 science, we're going to be learning about interdependence. Please follow along with me on page 78 of your packet. So what is interdependence and how does that involve with food chains that we learned from last week? Well, interdependence is how an organism depends on another organism to meet their basic needs. So, for example, animals, they depend on other animals for their basic need of food, and even some animals depend on plants for shelter. Remember, shelter is their place of where they live. So let's look at these examples down below of how interdependence is found between animals and plants and animals and animals. So right here, this first picture that you're looking at, this is a female cardinal. This bird is using plants to build a nest for a space to lay eggs. So she's using the plants for shelter, her place to live. The koala is eating leaves for food. The rabbit is using the grass to hide. The bird is eating worms for food. So basically, interdependence means how other animals depend on other living things in order to survive. And in a moment, you are going to be watching a video found from page 78. If you have the online packet, you are able to click on this QR code, this picture right here, and it will automatically send to you this video for further viewing. But since I'm here with you already, let's take a look at this video about interdependence. I will be back with you after the video. So make sure you're watching and I hope you're paying attention.
What is interdependence? Let's discover how animals and plants help or depend on each other. In many places around the world, animals and plants have different jobs to make living in the same place possible. Interdependence is how an organism depends on another organism to meet their basic needs for food or shelter. Without plants in their environment, these buffalo would have to travel very far away to find food. Different animals depend on different plants. A giraffe needs tall plants because it is tall. Do you see how this butterfly needs a strong plant to form a pupa in its life cycle? Let's look at how parrots depend on plants and the plants depend on the parrots. Parrots spend their day looking for seeds, fruits, and flowers to eat from plants. When the parrot flies away, the seeds fall a good distance from the adult plant to give it space to grow. Parrots also depend on dead or once living tree trunks to build their nest or for shelter. Animals depend on plants from weather that is too hot or too cold. Do you notice how the giraffe is finding shade from the tree? No matter the environment, animals and plants depend on each other to live and grow.
All right, I hope you learned a lot from that video from our district. So in short, interdependence is how living organisms depend on one another to survive. So I'm going to show you an example from one of my favorite webcams that I follow. It is found from the Southwest Florida Eagle Cam. And for the past few years, I have been following a family of bald eagles. And they are rather unique because that webcam is found in their nest for 24 hours, 7 days a week. So every day, 24 hours, that means all day long, you are able to log in and follow this eagle family. So this year, our bald eagle family, Harriet is mom and 15 is dad, and they have two eaglets named E15 and E16. So I'm going to show you a little quick clip, an old clip, but a good one, of how eagles depend on fish as one of their main sources of food. So let's take a look. So aren't they so cute? So this is E15, that is the elder sibling. We don't know if it's a girl or a boy. This is E16, the younger sibling. That's a stuffed animal that mom accidentally brought up to the nest. They're not using it as food. But as you can see here, this fish right here is one of the main sources of food for bald eagles. So in this clip, you're going to see interdependence. The eaglet, the baby eagle, depends on the fish for food. Now, usually, mom or dad, they tear up the little pieces of fish into tiny little pieces. But E16 is a rather curious little eaglet, and he or she is going to try to self-feed or feed on their own. Oh, I guess mom and dad was there. But as you can see, the eagles, they depend on fish in order to survive. So that's their main sources of food. If their favorite source of food, they're not big fans of stuffed animals. Because as you can see here, interdependence in motion. They're so cute. Anyways, please follow along and let's go to page 79 on our online packet or paper packet to talk more about interdependence. Okay, we are on page 79. Question number 3. Look at the environment in the picture. Choose two organisms, animal or plant, and tell how each one depends on another living organism. So we're going to focus on two animals. If you know me, I'm going to pick a bird. I mean, it's a given. And I'm going to pick the mockingbird. Surprise, surprise. And the mockingbird, as I can see from this environment, it depends on the tree, which I'm assuming it's an oak tree. The mockingbird depends on the oak tree in order to find a shelter. So I'm going to write that down. The mockingbird depends on the oak tree for shelter. And another word for depends is uses. So it uses the oak tree for shelter. Okay, let's take a look. Ooh, I see this guy right here. I'm going to color him in magenta. The armadillo. So the armadillo, as I can see from my environment right here, he seems to be having a good little meal with this bush right here, the plant. So the armadillo depends or eats the bush for food. So as you can see, interdependence is all about depending on one another, other organisms, in order to meet their basic needs. How you are also a living organism and you also depend on plants and other animals for your source of food.